my bookish friends, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Ashton and I love all things books. I'm here today to do my wrap up for the month of July. I had a decent month. I managed to read 14 books, which is great. That's kind of, my average is anywhere between sort of 10 to 15. So I was happy with 14. I probably, in all honesty, could have read more. But I've been slumping quite a bit recently and just not reading at the kind of pace that I would usually read at. It's taking me a little bit longer to get through certain books. And the only reason I would say that my book count is that high for the month of July is because I did a lot of audiobooks. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump in and I'm gonna take you through the books that I read in July. So to start the month off, I listened to the audiobook of Fearless by Lauren Roberts to obviously wrap up the series, although she has then since announced another little novella coming out later this year, and I'm like, babes, I thought I was done. But I did it on audiobook because it's obviously currently only out in paperback. I'll just put it up here. It's only available in hardback. It's not out in paperback, and all the rest of my series are in paperback. So I'm obviously going to wait to purchase it for when the paperback comes out. But I did want to read it because I'd reread Powerless and read Powerful and Reckless the month before, so I wanted to kind of finish it off, and that's what I did. So I started off the month really strong. I enjoyed this one and I gave it 5 stars. Is this series amazing writing or no? Is it vibes and is it a good time, and was I entertained and did I love the characters? 100%. And I liked that in this book it felt more similar to Powerless, which I absolutely loved. Reckless I did like as well, but I think I gave that one a 4.5. But yeah, this one I just had a good time and I liked the kind of way we wrapped it up, and yeah, I'm happy that the series is almost done. Just got to wait for that last novella and then we'll be officially done. So yeah, that's what I started the month off with. Then I moved on to the audiobook for Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man by Jessie Q Sutanto. I absolutely love Vera. She is one of my favourite characters in a book. She is just so much fun and she's so entertaining. But I love, like, although you've got the kind of cozy mystery vibes from this little series, you also have, there's kind of some real emotions in there as well, and the found family is just fantastic. So I audiobooked this one and I also gave that one 5 stars. So really good start to the month. Then I moved on to A Scottish Country Escape by Julie Shackman. I did this on ebook on Kindle Unlimited. This is the 4th book. Yeah, I think it's the 4th book in this kind of Scottish, I think it's called Scottish Escapes series or something like that. These are just cute kind of palette cleansers, nice to sort of read in between. They're not too long, not too complicated, but usually kind of like a nice fluffy time, if that makes sense, but with a sprinkling of emotions normally tapped in, or thrown in, should I say. This one was okay. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, and obviously I'm kind of making my way through the series. I think there's like 9 or 10 of them in total now. So that was number 4. And then I've got number 5, which is like a Christmas one, so obviously I'm going to kind of maybe save that till Christmas. And then I physically own number 6. But these are kind of standalones. You literally do not have to read them in any kind of order. You could kind of pick and choose what you like, because they're all completely separate stories, separate characters. They are normally obviously all set in Scotland. But yeah, so I gave that one 3 stars. Then I read The Risk by S.T. Abbey. This is the first book in the Mindfuck series. Again, I did this on Kindle Unlimited, and I had a good time. I gave this one 4 stars. Obviously, I've seen so many people rave about it, and I am excited to continue on with the rest of the books, because I think there's like 5 of them in total, and they're just small kind of like novellas that all follow along one kind of storyline, and these 2 characters, where we have, she is a serial killer and he is an FBI agent, and they meet and they kind of fall in love. That's kind of what I've gathered, and this is obviously the first part in that 5-part kind of series. But yeah, I had a good time. Writing was good. Plot, I enjoyed the plot, and 4 stars, and I'm looking forward to continuing. Then I switched back to audio, and I listened to Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. I read, I think it was Strange Sally Diamond last year, and I absolutely loved that. It was so unique, and just her writing style and her storytelling is it's just gripping. You just kind of can't help go, wait, what? Like, you know, and I did have that feeling with this one, but I was a little bit, I don't know, like, not necessarily bored, because I listened to this like really quickly, because I obviously listen on 2 times speed, but it was just a bit underwhelming compared to Strange Sally Diamond. But I am interested in listening to or reading more from Liz Nugent. But I gave this one 3 stars. Then I went on to listen to Private Dublin by James Patterson and Adam Hamdy. This is book number 20 in the Private series. This is the latest one out. So I listened to that. We're kind of following... Private is kind of like it's a private investigator sort of firm, and this guy Jack Morgan has kind of built it up. It used to belong to his dad. When we first meet him, he takes over, and then he kind of builds it up. It's like a private investigation, security, all that kind of stuff, and he's built it up over these years, and it's kind of gone worldwide. And he opens like what is the word I'm looking for? Guys, my brain's gone blank. He opens a private in each of these like different countries and stuff, and then each book is usually set, you know, in all these different countries. Sometimes the country they're set in, they might not necessarily have a private there yet, or it might be somewhere like this one was set in Dublin, so he didn't have an actual agency set up in Dublin, but he was using like agents from the London private that were kind of helping him and stuff. These are, I would say it's best to read these in order, and you kind of follow along on the storyline, because you get to know the characters, and although each book is different and it is focused on like a different country or a different kind of situation, the kind of storyline of the characters continues and weaves throughout the books, and especially in the newer ones that have been coming out recently that he's been doing with Adam Hamdy. They kind of follow on from the next book, so we kind of pick up where that one kind of left off. So I would suggest to read these in order, but I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I think I've given nearly everything in this series 4 or 4.5. There might have been a few 3.5s in there over the years, but it's a good series and it's good characters and it's so fast paced, which is, we know why I love James Patterson books. But yeah, then I moved on to another James Patterson book. I did this one as an ebook. This is James Patterson and Brian Sitz, and it's book 2 in the Holmes, Marple and Poe kind of series. I'll put it up here. This one is called Holmes is Missing. We're following these 3 private detectives. They have their own agency, and it's all set in New York, and these are obviously 3 people that their names are based off of, you know, these literary authors or characters or, you know, whatever. But the dynamic is really good between them. The storylines are great, really interesting, fast-paced. Can't really tell you what this one's about because obviously it's the second one. But I would highly recommend. Currently there are only these 2 out. I'm hoping that they bring another one out, hopefully at the start of next year. So I gave that one a 4.5 stars. Then I moved on to the Honeystone Village Diaries by Kate Forster. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm very sorry. I really love Kate's writing. I've read, I think this is now my 4th book by Kate Forster. And all of them I've given 4 stars, 4.5 stars. This one, it just got me. I loved all of the characters. I gave it 5 stars. This was all vibes. This was purely because of how much I love the characters, and I loved the little village, and you know, that kind of found family, and it just hit me in the feels. These are kind of, you'd think kind of from looking at them that they're just going to be cute, kind of fluffy romances, but there's so much more depth to these books, and they're, you know, we usually follow a whole bunch of different characters, and there's lots of different things going on, and you know, and it's just the journey that we see these characters go on. I absolutely love it, and this one was 5 stars. Then I read The Dark Side of the Mind by Kerry Danes. This was the last book that I needed to get through for my self-destruct books for June. So I did technically start it in June, but I finished it in July. And this was good. This was really interesting. She is a forensic psychologist, and she's basically in this just kind of sharing stories from, you know, from her experiences and her life and, you know, her career. And it was really interesting. I obviously didn't rate it because these are all her personal life experiences. So, you know, I'm not going to rate that. But I did enjoy it. It was a good time. Then I went back to my BorrowBox audiobooks, and I listened to All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. The concept of this was interesting. And the author tried to do something. It's kind of like she was telling the story, but it was kind of like in reverse. So we were, you know, she turns up to her small town that she's been away from for years. And her best friend went missing all those years ago. She moved away. She comes back. A couple of days after she comes back, someone else goes missing. And we're kind of, the timeline is going backwards, so we're getting backwards and backwards until we go back to like her best friend. And I liked what it was trying to do. It was just, sometimes it was a little bit like, wait, what? It was a little bit hard to follow, and I was getting a little bit like, I don't think I'm like, I don't know if it was a me problem, and there was a few times I got a bit confused. But just the pacing was just a little bit off. I still listened all the way through because I wanted to know what happened, but I was a little underwhelmed, so I gave it 3 stars. Then I moved on to The Hanging of Hetty Gale by Tess Burnett. This is, I believe, her debut, and this was like, it was heart-wrenching and beautiful and really well written, and I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed the kind of timelines that we were getting, and yeah, it was just, I think for a debut, I was really impressed by it. So I gave this one 4 stars. Really good, solid 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend that one if you're into kind of paranormal, kind of witchcraft-ish, and kind of that dual timeline, and there's a little bit of female rage in this, I would say. So yeah, it was a good time. Then I did the audiobook for Silent Cry by Jenny O'Brien. This is the Detective Gabby Darren series, and this is book 1. These are really kind of like short. And I've had this one and book 2, I've had them on my TBR for years. I think I bought them in like the works when they, you know, when they used to do the 3 for £5, like back then. So they've been on my TBR for quite a while, and I saw that they had Silent Cry on my book beat, so I was like, do you know what, yep, let's give it a go. Plus I've put the 2 of them on my new list of self-destruct books, so I was like, might as well make a start on that. I enjoyed this, 3.5 stars. It was an interesting read. It was enough to keep me kind of going. It wasn't amazing, but I enjoyed it and had a good time, enough to make me want to continue the series, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Then I read When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This was on my TBR for the month of July. This was my first time reading Sarah Adams, and I had such a good time with these characters. We're following Amelia Rose and Noah. She is a pop star. He lives in a small town. He just runs a pie shop. She breaks down and she ends up kind of stuck, and they're in close proximity, and she has to stay with him until our car gets fixed. And I just love small town. I loved the characters in this book. I loved the dynamic between the 2 of them. It gave me so many feels, and I just had a great time, and I gave it 5 stars, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the series. I know I've got both book 2 and 3, Practice Makes Perfect and Beg, Borrow, Steal, and then I believe the 4th and final one is coming out, I think is it end of this year? Yeah, I think it's something like 30th of December, but don't quote me on that, I'd have to double check. And then finally, for the month of July, I picked up Every Woman for Herself by Trisha Ashley. This is one of her older books. Again, this was on my July TBR. This was a little bit slow to get into. You can kind of really see how she's honed her writing over the years. And this one kind of, in the beginning, the writing style threw me a little bit. It's been a while since I read Trisha Ashley. Like I said, this is one of like her older ones. But once we got into it, it was just classic Trisha Ashley, and I enjoyed it. And the characters were just quirky and unique, and it's that found family, small town, but make it British countryside. I just love it. I just love her books. I love her writing, and I gave this one 4 stars. So that is everything that I read for the month of July. As I said, even though I was slumping, it still was a really good month. I had 4 5-star reads. That's probably, sort of quality wise, that's probably one of my best months. And quantity wise as well, like the most I think I've read is 15 in a month so far this year. So again, that was up there. It just kind of felt very difficult for me to kind of get through. I didn't do the, you can see I didn't do many physical books. These were the only two that I managed to get through from my physical TBR. There was another one that was on my physical TBR, that was Truth or Die by James Patterson, and I DNF'd that about 30 pages in. Just wasn't interested, so that's a DNF. And then I did start The Map Makers by Tamsin Merchant, which was also on my July TBR, but I'm not very far into it, but obviously I'm going to continue that into the month of August. So technically I kind of got 4 books out of the 10 that we picked off of my TBR. But yeah, I'm going to do something a bit different in August. I'm just going to I think I'm going to mood read and not kind of pick a specific TBR. But let's wait and see. Chat to me down below in the comments. Tell me, did you have any 5-star reads this month? What was your favourite book of July? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much if you've made it all the way to the end of the video. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm not going to keep yapping because I've already been yapping for too long. But I will see you guys next time. Take care.